I'm not going to name any names, but there's a certain person on or related to my team that was arrested at Mifflin last year. And like the cops are like the bike cops.
What day is it today? Friday? Oh wait, no, Monday.
No.
3, 2, 1.
I'm Maddie.
I'm Azhani.
It girls. Maddie Berezowitz and Azhani Tealer.
I'm lit girl. Podcast with a couple it girls.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm lit girl. Podcast with a couple it girls.
What's up, y'all? That's Brez, and I'm Z, and welcome to the It Girls podcast, where we are bringing the stories of a bunch of women to you. And so we've had the privilege of winning 4 SEC championships and 1 Natty, but along the way, we've learned that every winner has their story outside of their sport. And so with that being said, this week's It Girl is from UW, Wisconsin, UW hockey, and her name is Cami Kronish, and we're so excited to talk to her today. What's up, Cami?
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you, talk some women's sports.
Yeah. Well, we were talking a little bit before the episode, and I've done the math in my head, and it's very rough math, but I think there's probably, if you think about women's sports, probably less than 1% get to play in college, right?
Yeah.
There's like 1% of that gets to win a natty, and there's like negative 0.1% that gets to win 3 natties. So we are with hockey royalty today, and we are excited.
Athletic royalty. I don't know anyone that's won 3 natties.
No, we
That's
should find
crazy.
someone. Yeah. But I think we're excited for a couple of reasons. One, that's freaking crazy. 2, Z and I don't understand hockey that well. So we want to make this an opportunity to like explain the game, explain why the game needs to grow, explain why there needs to be more females in hockey and so on and so forth. So with that, Cami, tell us about yourself. You're from New York, and fun fact, I actually lived in New York last summer.
I knew this was
Where'd you
coming.
live?
I know Z was gonna say that. So I lived in Brooklyn Heights, but I worked like Midtown Manhattan. So
Okay, yeah, I live on the Upper West Side, so
oh my, so
That
you like
is
were
my hood.
born and raised there?
yeah, so born and raised. I only lived outside of New York. Like I went to boarding school for a little
Okay.
portion. That's like the only time I've really been outside of the city. But I mean, as you can imagine, it's not really like a sports hotbed.
Yeah.
Like especially for ice hockey. So it was a kind of a challenging situation growing up there and playing a sport that like was such a high commitment type of sport, especially at the level that I was playing. No, there was a lot of trips in the car to New Jersey. I mean, I played for a boys team in New Jersey for a couple of years.
That's
Just
crazy.
because like, there's not really much in the city, but yeah,
It's
I'm
like
a city girl.
incomprehensible to me, someone growing up in New York City. Do you like Central
Z-
Park is like your playground?
No, like
I don't-
literally, like I meet people and they ask like if my life is like Gossip Girl.
Is it?
No, and like when people first started asking me that, like when I went away to boarding school in high school, I hadn't even seen Gossip Girl, and they were like, "Is your life like Gossip Girl?" And I was like, I don't even know. Like, let me watch, and then I can give you an answer. So
Like,
it's
do you live in a high rise or like?
yeah, like I live in an apartment. I grew up in an apartment.
So what do your parents do? Why, like they just love the city? Is that part of the reason you stayed there? Or
Both my parents are from New York. They're from Long Island, but they ended up moving into the city. My parents are from New York. Like we have been here forever. So yeah, we're a bunch of city people.
That's so cool. Z came and visited me over the 4th of July this year, and whenever we saw kids in the city, we would look at each other like, how does this even work? Like, so would you ride the subway? Like, when did that kind of, like, when were you allowed to like ride the subway? I didn't even like riding the subway, and I was 22.
Yeah, like when I was a kid, I didn't like it either because I thought it was like so like smelly. I mean,
Yeah.
But like yeah, when I was like, probably 12, I see kids on the subway today that are like I think are like way too young to be riding, but I'm sure that like that was me. Like back in the day, like people were probably looking at me and being like, there's a little kid on the subway. That's crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, no, like on the bus, in a taxi, all that stuff. But no, I get like the same thoughts because I don't really get to go home often. Like I was home last week. but that's so rare that I get to go home. So every time I go there, it's like kind of a culture shock, like coming from Madison. Like, it's just like, oh, this is like so busy and loud, and like there's too much going on, and it's smelly. So like I always get that kind of like shock at first.
So how old were you when you went to boarding school?
It was my freshman year of high school. So I don't know if there's anything like this in the volleyball world, but there's this program that I went to called the North American Hockey Academy. And so it's basically just like a hockey focused boarding school, but it was really weird because it was only 6 months out of the year. It was from October to March. So like the other months of the year, I would have to go home to New York and like finish up like my school year, like, and like leaving and coming back to the school in New York was like impossible. So I had to switch schools a bunch. Like we literally lived in Connecticut for 2 years. Like it was so hard. But like it was just because like I wanted to play hockey. Like
and that was the only option.
Yeah, it wasn't even like a second thought.
Yeah. Was the school like eat, breathe, sleep, hockey?
It was it was only 40 girls.
What?
Like,
okay, where was it? Like walk us through like what a day looked like. I'm so intrigued.
Okay, so if you know Burlington, I don't know if it's the capital of Vermont, but it's like the main spot in Vermont.
Yeah.
And like if you go like 45 minutes north, there's this skiing town called Stowe. And it's like
it's like it's like top 10 skiing resort in the world, actually. Just
like it's really pretty there. It's like an hour south of the Canadian border. So yeah, we would like wake up, eat breakfast, then you'd go to the rink, or there were 2 teams. So depending on which team you were on, you would either skate first or you would work out first. And then we'd flip-flop. And then you'd come back to the house, have lunch, and then we would have school from like noon to 5:30, and that was what it was. Like
6 months out of the year, that's probably every day too.
Yeah, that's every single day. Like other than on the weekends when we drive to Detroit, like we drive to Montreal, we drive to Boston to go play. No, but it was like the most awesome thing. Like as a high schooler, like that's all I wanted to do, and like I was with like my best friends, and we just play hockey every day, and like the school portion wasn't like that serious.
Secondary.
I'm sure it wasn't. You guys are a hockey boarding school. I'm sure school wasn't of high priority.
You were a student athlete. You were the athlete. Yeah.
I was an athlete student. Yeah. But no, it was so fun, and like so many of my teammates are like also played D1 hockey. So it was an awesome experience. Now the program got moved to Boston. It got bought by someone else. So I don't know what they're up to now, but no, it was like really weird because I had to come back and I couldn't just like hop into like the normal school year back in New York. It was like, it was always had a bunch of problems with that.
Yeah, I'm sure. So then what did your decision going to Wisconsin look like? Like, what, first of all, walk us through like the collegiate hockey landscape. Like, you might not know like how many teams there are, but I'm sure there's not as many as volleyball.
No, definitely not. It's a lot smaller of a world. If I had to guess how many D1 women's teams there were, I would say maybe like 40.
That's what I figured.
Also, I was looking up, you guys don't play in the Big Ten. You guys play like the WHCA, something like that?
Yeah, WCHA. So all the teams that you would like associate with the Big Ten, like us, Ohio State, Minnesota, where they have a different league for us, like the men's hockey and obviously like men's basketball, women's basketball, everybody else is in the Big Ten. I don't know the exact reason why they don't have a Big Ten for us. But yeah, our league is the Western Collegiate Hockey Association. So, and
I saw that like St. Cloud State is not technically a D1 school, but they're considered D1 in hockey, correct?
Yeah, there's a couple schools that we play that the only D1 teams that they have are their hocky teams, like
Duluth.
St. Cloud. I think Duluth
is D2.
I think Duluth is D2. Everything besides hockey. Lindenwood, I would imagine, like St. Thomas, like all these schools that aren't like super big schools. Might be ones that are D2. I think maybe the only like real D1 ones are like us, Minnesota, Ohio. That might be it for our.
Wow. So why did you choose Wisconsin? What was it? I mean, I'm from Wisconsin, as you know. So like growing up, we were Badger fans through and through, like everyone in this freaking state. But I'm sure you felt that like when you got to Madison. But what was your decision like there?
Yeah, so I was always interested in the Badgers. Like I would contact Jackie, the assistant coach, or Dan, the other assistant coach, whenever I would be going to tournaments to try to get them to come watch me play. And we had kind of like been talking, but it really wasn't anything serious. I was talking to a lot more schools on the East Coast. Like I really wanted to go to Boston College for like the majority of my high school. That was like my goal. And we were talking pretty seriously. And then I had visited both schools, and visiting Wisconsin, it's like nothing else like compares. Like the things we have here, and like the level of like support that we get from like the school, and also just like the community, like the fans that we have coming out to our games, like it's just insane. Like there's no other university that gets treated the way that we do. So
I saw a video of your sorry, not to interrupt you. I saw a video of your facilities on YouTube, and it was a video of you answering questions. The facilities were insane.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sure that had a big deal into going there also, but I was like, you're like right outside the rink. The locker room was massive. I saw the automatic door. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's so sick. Like you walk in there like as a high school player, and you're like, like your jaw drops.
I'm sure.
And so I had gone on that visit, and I was like, holy crap, like I want to go here. And then within literally span of 2 days, BC and Wisconsin offered me. And
oh man,
I was like kind of conflicted at first, because I had wanted to go to BC for so long, and then like Wisconsin kind of jumped in, and my parents were like, well, whatever decision you make, like it's going to be the right one. Like you won't have regrets. You just need to make a decision, like list the pros and cons. And I just like went to my room for a little bit. When I came back out, I was like, I made my decision. Like I'm going to Wisconsin. And I'm
That's
so
awesome.
glad. I'm so glad
awesome.
I made that choice. Like I don't regret a single thing. This is the place that I'm meant to be. So it all worked out.
That's awesome. That's such a great feeling.
That makes my heart so happy to hear, Cami. Like I think we can talk about this too, but like in the current landscape with like people just hopping from place to place to place. I told Z to take the next question, but this is a really good lead up, so I'm just going to take it anyways. You know, people are hopping around a lot, right? And like seeming to think that the grass is going to be greener on the other side, when oftentimes it's not. And, you know, Z and I'm speaking for her, but like Kentucky was like a dream come true. Like we had the most amazing time. Like when you were just talking, I'm like, preach girl, like that's me, like to a T. But with that being said, you know, we were looking at your situation, and like you didn't play a lot your first 3 years, correct? Is that correct?
My first 4 years, I didn't play.
4 years.
I actually learned the stat today that I had 7 total games played in 4 years.
7. Okay, that's we had 3. I had 3 written down, so 7. That's crazy,
insane. Yeah. And you ended up obviously being the Frozen Four outstanding player, which is insane. Like that is so cool.
Wait,
congrats
Cami,
to you.
Really quick, break this down for me. You had 31 saves in the championship game. We don't know hockey. Like, is that like a really big stat line?
Yeah, that's like a lot.
Post on yourself a little bit. Talk about yourself.
Yeah, let's talk it up. Let's go.
I'll tell you. So like the semifinal, I think I had 37 saves, and I think I had like 10 saves in overtime, which is like 10 saves in overtime is crazy. Like
how long is overtime?
Overtime in the playoffs is just like a whole nother period. It's a 20-minute period, 5-on-5. But having like 10 saves in overtime and like winning a game is crazy, because like for some reason it's like overtime, everyone's like jittery, and like teams just like tend to score on like the first or second shot.
Right.
But yeah, like having like 31 shots or 37 shots, like that's like a lot for women's hockey. Usually our games against like Ohio State and Minnesota will get up to those numbers, but most of the time, like the shot is usually at like 15 to 25 shots. Like it's usually nowhere like near that amount.
You're in like your flow state, like you
like I was literally like outer body, like I don't remember anything. Like,
But that
no.
that goes back to all those years of the training and putting yourself in that moment, like that.
Boarding school.
Yeah, like all
Yeah.
of those years of that. So, but anyways, going back to that, walk us through, I'm sure you had doubts at some points and like questioned if it was the right decision, or maybe you didn't. Like, I guess just talk through like how your mental was going through, taking your time to sit on the bench. And then when it was your time, like you did your ish,
Yeah.
walk us through that.
Yeah, so coming in, I wasn't expecting to be playing, at least like for my first year. They had a starting goalie who was a beast. Like we won the Natty my freshman year. Like I wasn't expecting anything. I redshirted that year. But then I guess as like the years went by and I still wasn't playing, and then they brought in like another goalie my junior year to play, like to take that starting spot. And there were definitely points where I was like, I was really like struggling, being like, I don't know, like I think this isn't working out. Like I'm not playing. Like I expected to at least have like 5 games played like by now, and I'm just like not playing, and this sucks. But I love it here. Like I love the people so much. Like I don't want to leave. So I was like, I'm not leaving. Like I love this place, and like if my time will come, it's going to come later, and I just need to like be patient for that. Like if I'm going to decide to stay, like I need to like put on a happy face,
Yeah.
like I can't decide to stay and then like be miserable about it.
Yeah.
So then, going into this season, I kind of knew that it would be like a battle between me and my goalie partner, Jane, to see who would play. And so for the first half of the season, we usually play 2 games a weekend. So we would just split one. I would play one game and she'd play the other game. And that's how it was for the first half. And then she hurt her ankle really bad. Like she had a high ankle sprain. And so she was out for a while. So that was kind of when I got my opportunity to play. And like you guys said, like it was just like automatic at that point, because I had been waiting for so long and like seeing other people in the spotlight and like learning so much from them, that like when that moment came, I was like, I can do this. Like I know exactly what to do. Like let's ride. So it was awesome. Like after that point, things were just like second nature. So it was awesome to finally get into that spot. But yeah, I mean, like a long time waiting. It was definitely hard, but it was.
I saw a bunch of videos on like NCAA hockey of your teammates holding you up and like, Cami, and like when someone's so invested and like working so hard and everyone around you knows that, like I'm sure all your teammates were so happy for you. That was probably better than the win, is all your teammates being that excited for you.
Yeah, like the thing that I'll remember the most, in 10, 20 years, like I'm not gonna remember how many shots that I played.
Right.
Like I'm gonna remember like being on the ice with my teammates and like when I heard my name, like for the most outstanding player, like the way that they all like jumped on me, like that was such
chills.
Wait, I heard you got a bloody nose in that celebration. Is that right?
Yeah. So
Shut
like
up.
So like the timer went off and everyone like throws their gloves in the air and I'm like jumping up and down and I tripped
with your skates on?
Yeah, like this is right when the game ended. And I like fell forward and I was like almost like bent over and I like flew backwards as people were like coming at me, and I'm at the bottom of the dog pile. Like there's like probably like there's probably like 500 pounds of people on top of me, and my helmet like turned around on my face and I'm like screaming. I'm like, get off. Yeah. I can't breathe. And so finally someone heard me and they all start like getting off me, and I take my helmet off and there's like blood coming out of my nose.
God.
Yeah, and then like of course I'm like, crap, like all these pictures are gonna be ruined.
Yeah.
Like I broke my nose. Like God, my mom's gonna be so mad at me. But thankfully it was only bloody, and I got a few pictures with the blood on my nose.
Dope.
That turns out to be a dope picture.
Yeah, like it's sick.
For
And
sure.
my jersey has like blood mark on it. Like
Never wash it.
That's how it's supposed to be. Yeah.
It turned out amazing.
That is so cool. Did you guys get the hats after? I'm assuming like national championship hats. Yeah, Z wore hers like cannot make it up. She wore it.
Yeah,
for,
was it like glued to your head?
Glued. And like
Glued,
makeup.
No, like the hat is disgusting.
Disgusting.
You
Yeah.
guys like put yours on like right when, on the court, like right
Hell
after you
yeah.
so your
Yeah.
head is like sweaty.
I
Oh my
wore
God,
it for
and-
like 3 weeks straight. I showered in it. I slept in it. I took so much pride in that hat. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, my hat has like it's like smelly. It's gross.
But you have 3 hats, so it's
Yeah,
hard for the nest.
they're all smelly, but I'm
So
I don't-
wait, which championship is your favorite? This might be a give question because I
Yeah.
can probably guess, but
Okay, well this one, yeah, being in net for it was amazing. But I also think that there's a certain value to like watching it.
Yeah.
Like being on the team and being so invested but not actually like contributing is like gets you so much more like anxious because you don't have like an impact on what's happening.
Right.
Like sitting on the bench and watching it, you get so anxious about it. And so for that reason, when we won in 2021 and we won in overtime that year, that was crazy just because like the vibes were like so tense being in overtime.
yeah.
That was crazy. But then like of course like being in the net and actually doing it myself is incomparable to anything else.
Right.
That's so cool.
Okay, well, so
That's
I
so
was
cool.
looking at stats on your guys' schedule. You guys played Ohio State in the championship game, but you guys played them 4 times already that season and lost 3 of those games, and like one of them you lost like 10-0. Like it's hard to beat a team once, but then like to beat a team twice doesn't really happen. They beat you 3 times, then to go in the championship game and
Beat him
beat them
is
is crazy.
they probably didn't sleep super well after that.
Yeah, what was your mindset
that
going into
was
the game
like
with that?
That's so funny you say that they probably didn't sleep so well because like the whole season, like if we were like losing, like our whole thing was like that the other team wasn't gonna sleep a wink when we would come
No
back.
way.
And we're like, they're not sleeping a wink tonight. But
That's
yeah,
so
like
funny.
Ohio, I think was ranked number 1 every single week of the season. Maybe one week they weren't, but like they were like unanimously number 1. They had an awesome year. They have a stacked team. And we went through like a really rough patch. We lost 5 games in a row in January, which I guess hadn't happened in our program since like the year 2000. Like it's like not a thing to lose that many games. So I think that includes 2 Ohio State games that we lost. And yeah, we really got crushed by them. We lost 5-0 in Columbus. And that was really hard. Like after we lost that game, like it sucks to lose, but like to lose 5-0, it's like it just is like by the end of the game, like no one wants to be playing. Like, it's just not fun to lose by that much.
Right.
And so there was definitely like a part of the season where it was hard and like things weren't going right. And then we had like a bunch of team meetings and we were like, we need to get back on track. But yeah, then we also played them the last weekend of the season and we beat them in overtime and then we lost the next day, which was like a really crappy loss because we had played way better than them. And then they scored like 3 goals with like 5 minutes left. Like it sucked.
Tough.
So yeah, I mean, like I honestly think those 2 games at the end of the season though were like so essential to us beating them in the finals because in those 2 games, like we played better than them. Like we might have not gotten the result in one of them, but like we knew that we could outplay them and that like if we just played like a full 60 minutes, like things could go well.
Right.
So I think everybody just was thinking about that heading into the game. Plus, like we were like kind of underdogs. So we were like, we don't really have anything to lose. Like we've proved ourselves 2 times already in the quarterfinal and the semifinal. Like let's just go crazy out there and like see what happens.
Yeah.
And
We've had games like that where we've like where those losses were essential for our season, but
South
never
Carolina.
like God, we played better and if we play that way again, we'll win. It was like we just played horrible and they beat us by 3. Like it's got to change. Like never. I wish it was like that.
But there's like value to both of those. Like like if you play poorly, then like you go back and you're like, okay, that was unacceptable. But then if you play well and you lose, you can also take from that like we played well and like things just didn't work our way and we just need to keep it up and things will eventually go our way.
And Cami, I'm like listening to you talk, and Z and I had like an eerily similar situation this year, and it was your last year. It's my last year and Z's senior year, but she's playing 5th year.
Are you
And
staying at Kentucky?
she's got one more. And it was like really hard for a while. And, you know, being your senior year, I felt so much pressure. Like not me specifically, but like we had won 3 championships. Like I wanted my senior year to win a freaking championship, like so badly. And I was getting so frustrated in the beginning of the year, and Z and I were just like going through it. And like we were having the team meetings. We were like doing all the right things. And constantly my coach is like, leadership's lonely. Like leadership is lonely. And, you know, when you end up winning, we ended up winning the SEC this year. And it was just like so like a weight off our chest. Like we were like, that was worth it. Like it was worth like the hard times in order to end up getting like winning the championship. Wish we would have won the Natty. That would have been a lot doper. But I feel like you probably can relate to that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like especially having this year have been like the first year that like I'm playing.
Right.
I definitely felt much more like a sense of urgency. Like this is the one year I'm playing. Like this is the one shot I have. Like we need to win. And so I think like that like might have caused some tension, and I'm sure you guys can relate. Like, you know, when it's coming from the older girls, that you can tell, like as a freshman, like when you see like an older girl like really like going through it because like she knows this is her last shot, like it's like motivating, but it's also like a little like it gets you a little bit nervous. Like you're like, crap, like I need to perform to like, you know, make my senior's final season awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think we tried as best we could to keep that vibe away from the rest of the team, because I think we were all feeling it, especially when we went through like our 5-game losing streak. I think all of us were like kind of freaking out a little bit,
for
thinking
sure.
like our last year like it's like we're not gonna accomplish anything.
Right.
Like it's embarrassing. But yeah, eventually things just started clicking. And it's hard as a senior to like kind of let go of some of that like control over the situation because you want to win so bad. But like our freshmen this year were like so essential to us winning, and like they were leaders too. And so to be able to like give them some of that responsibility and them like lead the team and, you know, score goals and do all the other things that they're so great at was like so important to us winning.
That's so
You're like
cool.
preaching to the choir right now, Cami.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm sure you guys
so
relate.
relatable.
Yeah.
Like
so
sports
relatable.
are all the same, like that kind of thing. Like you don't win a championship without like going through some tough stuff, and like you don't win a championship because of like one class. Like everyone needs to work together.
Right. Yeah. So Cami, obviously we've talked like a lot about college and your crazy career. What's your path going forward? What are your dreams? What are your goals? Have they changed? And also, what did you major in?
So I got my bachelor's in communications, and I'm doing a master's program in sports leadership right now.
Yep.
Year program. It's like very athlete oriented. You probably can assume.
Yeah.
But no, it's been a good thing to do my last year. But yeah, in the future, I've been talking to a few teams in Europe. One of my best friends who graduated from Wisconsin last year played in Sweden this past season. She played right in Stockholm. So I've been talking to the coach of that team, and then a really good friend from high school played in Switzerland. So I've been talking to that coach too. But yeah, I mean, before this season, like when I hadn't played, I was like, I don't even know if I want to keep playing hockey after college. Right. I don't know if I want to do that. But then after, or like kind of midway through the season, I was like, no, I'm actually having fun. And like now that I'm playing, like I don't really want to stop. Like this is fun. So I started to get in contact with coaches. So I'll be playing next year. I'm not exactly sure where yet though. But yeah, I wanted to stay playing hockey. I'm like, why do I have to make it end so fast? Like I'm having fun.
Good for you. Good for you.
Okay, well, so your sister is on the U.S. national rugby team, just played in the World Cup. Talk about, I don't know, she's older than you. I'm sure you looked up to her at some point or in some form or way. Talk about your sister a little bit. Brag on your sis.
Yeah, so my sister Jenny, she's 4 years older than me. Yeah, she was 100% someone that I looked up to and is like a reason that I'm playing sports today. When I was little and she was older than me, she was involved in all these different sports like baseball, soccer, tennis. She did everything. She even played hockey for a little bit. So yeah, I wanted to be just like her. I tried out all these different sports. I hated all of them. And then I finally found hockey and I just ended up going with that one. But no, like she played soccer pretty much all of her youth sports career. She went to college for soccer, actually. She played at Harvard for one season and then she switched over to rugby. But
like Harvard had a rugby team.
Yeah, so Harvard, she got to school and she was like kind of was falling out of love with soccer. Like she was just like, I don't know if I want to play this in college. So she literally saw like a flyer on like a lamppost, like come to a rugby meeting. Like we'd love to have you on the team. And she was like, I'm not gonna go, whatever, I'll go. I'll just meet these girls. And she went. She was like, wait, these girls are really cool. I'm gonna try out for the team. I'm gonna learn how to play. And so she did. This is all her sophomore year, and rugby at Harvard is D1. So like she just walked onto the team. She learned how to play, and now it's like 6 years later, like she's on Team USA, like in the World Cup.
That's crazy.
No, it's totally insane.
That could be a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like she would just always excel at everything, like whether it was sports or academically. Like, and that's just such a
Wait,
great
your sister went to Harvard and she's smart?
Yeah, she actually is smart. Like, like the deal with her was like she had to get in, and then she would like have a spot on the soccer team. It wasn't like
she wasn't a get
got her in.
Yeah,
it was the other way around.
So the video that I was watching of you, it was like the lady asked you, "What is one thing people don't know about you that you wish they did?" And you were like, "Oh, I wish that everyone knew that my sister plays rugby." And I was like, "That is so sweet." And I was like, "Kind of weird, but so sweet." Now I am understanding. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's totally underrated for no reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just like a awesome role model. Like my sister like is my best friend, and so to see her do these awesome things, like, you know, I want to do them too.
Yeah.
And so like getting to this point and, you know, going through those 4 years not playing, like she was definitely a really good shoulder to lean on.
I'm sure
she understood being an athlete. So yeah, she's really cool. And yeah, just like a great role model to have as an older sister.
She feels like a potential it girl in the
future. I'd love to talk to you guys. Like she's really cool, and it's interesting to hear about rugby because like, if you think hockey is small, like rugby is like miniature. Like the world is so tiny, and like she's really like working to improve like the state of the women's game and grow it. So yeah, I could get you guys in contact. She's cool.
Yeah, that's dope. So speaking of the state of the women's game, Z and I were curious about like women's hockey versus men's hockey. You know, you hear about like the soccer discrepancies and how that's kind of becoming closer. We just interviewed a women's basketball player who's one of the best in WNBA. And obviously like the difference between the WNBA and the NBA is stupid big. What's like the difference between men's hockey and women's hockey? Is there big discrepancies or is there not? Where's it going in the future? So on and so forth.
It's enormous.
Really?
So the women's professional situation in like North America is like really, I don't know all the details, but it's really crappy from what I've learned.
So there is a professional
There's
league?
two.
Okay.
So there's two, and like leagues keep getting made and then they keep folding. And it seems like the two that they have now are doing well, but the issue is that like does like the NBA like support the WNBA in any fashion? Like did like
they
the
try, or at least they like, act like they do. I'm not sure. So but I think they definitely try.
They act like they do. Like the NHL, like I think they're having issues like supporting the women's game because there's like two leagues, and I think the whole thing has been like you need to create like one league with everybody, and then we can like start to get on board like and promote you guys. So it's kind of like a crappy situation right now. It's it's improving, and I think like women's hockey is getting a lot more recognition and revenue, most importantly, but
Right.
it's not an ideal situation. And so that was one of the reasons that like I decided like to go to Europe, because I was like, if I'm gonna keep playing pro hockey, like I don't really want to be like in this whole like drama in
Right.
the US, like, and like I'm gonna like live in the US. Like I'd rather go somewhere and like
Yeah.
explore like a new place and like learn some cool things than like have to deal like they get paid absolutely nothing in
What's the
those
salary? I
leagues.
was gonna ask you.
I think that like the average salary is like $13,000 to $20,000. Like
Bro, that's like
it's not everybody
not
has
even-
another job.
it's like less
Yeah.
than a serving job. Like I could go
Yeah.
serve at
Like,
Fred's for that.
and it's so sad because like you have to think, if you're being paid that little, like you're doing it because you really want to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
Absolutely.
these girls are like, they're working full-time jobs and then going to late night practices just because they
Jeez.
want to do it. It's crazy. Like they it's kind of sad because obviously like the players are passionate about the sport and they are committed to those late night practices and traveling and stuff, and it just seems like the management or
It's not
whoever's
there.
owning these groups, like can't get it to work.
We
So
talked so much with it being, was it the 50th university 50th anniversary of Title IX this year, right?
mhm.
So our coach was like on his game about that. Like he wanted to make sure like we knew like how significant Title IX was and like really just like how far there still is to go. And we talked so much, Cami, about money being the problem, obviously, but like we need more people to be like, damn, I love watching hockey. Like I give 100% of my annual donations to the NHL, but I'm gonna give like 40% or not even say 10% to the women's
Like
hockey
it's
league.
just anything.
Right. Like if we have that exposure, one, we need more exposure. We need more, TV coverage, which is getting there, but it's got a long ways to go. And two, we need people to just like take a chance. And I think that is part of the reason we want to do this podcast. Part of the reason like Z, you haven't told her what you want to do, but like Z wants to continue working in sports. And I want to work in finance and make money so I can make sure that female sports have more money. So
Rez is gonna be rich.
shut up. So are you. So annoying. So I'm on my soapbox now, but that sucks to hear that. Like that 20,000 isn't even enough to live for a person.
No, and I have to give props to you guys because like I would say volleyball, I mean soccer is like light years ahead for women's sports, but like volleyball, especially like college volleyball and college basketball this year have like made such strides for women's sports in general. Like people are watching you guys now, and like because of that, now they're giving like smaller sports a chance. So like you guys are like the leaders at the front. So it's awesome to see.
You're sweet, but we want you guys to be right there, toe and toe. But speaking of like basketball, that was so good for women's sports.
Yeah,
it was so good.
So awesome. It was really cool to see like all the support like from like the men too. Like it wasn't just like the average like American was watching it. It was like NBA was posting about it, like Steph Curry. Like it was sick. Like to see that.
I was thinking like those two girls like are household names now. Like you
household
say
names.
Clark, you say Angel Reese, like you know exactly who they're talking about. She went from like 300,000 followers to like 1.4 in like a span of like 2 weeks. That's insane, and that's good for everyone involved. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I
was like a good lesson to like ESPN and stuff that like if they give you the platform, like give it a chance, like people will like it. Like just give it a chance.
I was on a walk that day, like right after LSU beat Iowa, and I live in like a super small town, and I live in Burlington, by the way, Burlington, Wisconsin. So that's why we smiled when you said Burlington, Vermont, and we were like, oh, well. And I was walking around, and it was like a beautiful day, which like doesn't happen very often. And we were walking by this house, and there was like these two grown men who were like decked out in Iowa gear. They were just like grilling on their back patio, and my dad and I are pretty outgoing, and we were like, tough loss today, guys. And they were like, yeah, that's I hate to see it, but like so great for women's sports. Like she'll be back next year. Like these are like grown ass men, random. Like we know a lot of people never seen these men in our life, and they are like full on supporting this women's basketball game. I just thought that was so cool. Like that. Hopefully that's the future. Like hopefully that happens.
On the other hand, I was like on a plane. I was coming back to Lexington while the game was happening. I was watching before we took off, and there's an older guy next to me, and he was like, "Yeah, I really love basketball. I'm not super into women's basketball. It's just not the same." And I'm like, God, I just immediately lost so much respect for you. I don't even know you. And immediately, like, I don't even want to talk to you anymore. Like, we're at that point now where it's like, yeah, like, it's just, like, stop talking to me, man. But
like, especially with like how awesome those girls were this year. Like, dude, you sound like an idiot.
You do. You do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm losing brain cells. Attendant, let's switch it up.
Let's switch seats.
Yeah.
Okay, Cami, getting off the topic, I mean, we've talked about you being this incredible athlete, but you're more than that, like we talked about earlier. Talk about I know you like playing guitar. I didn't learn that, but you also really love dogs and animals, and you're working in some form about that. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so my freshman year, I downloaded one of those like dog walking apps, this app called Rover. And at this point, I'm like living in a dorm. Like my roommate is this girl, Sophie Shirley, who's a fellow Badger hockey player.
Yeah.
And we're literally in a dorm. And I start like bringing in dogs. Like I had like 80-pound golden retrievers in our room, which like you like everyone knows what a dorm looks like. Like
no, and
like,
Madison's dorms are like super smallsy. Like
yeah,
the size of your bedroom.
We were in one of the dorms that had like decent sized
rooms.
Okay, good. Still, we were like a dog hotel. And so I
couldn't have been legal. Could not have been legal.
Definitely not legal. And like every time I would walk past like the front desk of the dorm, like they would always like look at me with the dog, and I would just be like, but no, I did that for a little bit, and then I kind of stopped doing it for 4 years because I was just like, I'm busy, whatever. And the season just ended and I have nothing to do. And I was like, maybe I'll just get back on that app. So I've been taking care of all these dogs. I have this dog actually sleeping on my bed right now that he's like a repeat customer. His name's Coco, and he's really cute. But no, it's so nice to have something that's not hockey and not school and like not even a person that I can like kind of relax with and hang out, and like it's such a nice like de-stressor to like just go on a walk with the dog, like just get back.
Play the guitar for the dog.
Yeah, and he really was like confused, and then he was like, I don't care, you're not good.
Wait, but are you good? Like, when did you start playing guitar?
I taught myself how to play my sophomore year.
Subtle flex.
I would say like on a scale of like 1 to 10, like 1 being like I have no idea how to play.
Never picked up a guard. Yeah.
And 10 being like
Mick Jagger.
Yeah, like Mick Jagger, John Mayer. That's like a really steep.
Taylor Swift. I think that's
I would probably say I'm like a 3 on that scale.
I don't believe that.
No.
I think
like,
you're being honest.
I can play. I'm not like insane, but I can play an average song, you know.
Can you sing?
I like to actually let my teammate Britta Curl and Sophie Shirley sing.
That's
my
dope.
Teammate Britta has like a full-on like Britta Curl covers Instagram account.
Shut up.
Her and her sister. Like you guys should actually check it out because their voices are amazing.
Yeah, plug her right now.
Plug
Britta
her.
Curls.
Britta Curls.
Covers. Britta Curl. I think it's called BC Covers. She does it with her sister. And their voices are amazing, and she plays the guitar and the piano, and they're just
so what I'm hearing is we need to get you guys in the studio.
Yeah,
get a UW Badgers championship music tour.
Yeah, championship albums coming soon.
Championship albums.
If anybody's listening,
yeah,
we need 3 albums, 1 for each ring.
Yeah,
we know a guy. Z, we know a guy. You can make it happen. But speaking of, her name's Britta.
Yeah,
that's so cute. Like NIL. Now she can do that. That's huge. Like, you know, circa 2 years ago, she could have just done it for free, but like, that's a big deal.
Like, it's so interesting. And I would actually be like more curious to like hear how you guys have gone through that. Like, playing volleyball, like being on a smaller roster and like a bigger sport. I just like don't think that like women's hockey has really taken off with NIL yet. I mean, we have like a couple girls that made deals with like, did you guys see there's like a degree breaking limits and like that kind of stuff, and like some other like small hockey things like a hockey tape company, but nothing big. I mean, like some of the basketball guys like are partners with like Pepsi and like Mountain Dew.
Right.
Ridiculous. So I don't think we're there yet, but no, it's awesome to be able to like do that kind of stuff and promote women's hockey and also get paid for it. And I'd actually be curious like what you guys have to say about that. Like,
yeah. Z, hit it. You kind of explain it.
Someone else should take it. I am
okay. Mute yourself, weirdo.
Sorry.
Yeah, NIL. First of all, Kentucky, like Madison's like got money and got donors who are willing to do things with money. And also I think it's like very much on the athlete to take initiative versus like in men's sports. I think like they can kind of come to you. And so from the like get-go, I didn't play a lot at Kentucky, but I feel like I have kind of a cool social media. So I was like, I'm just gonna mess around and see if I can make something happen. So like I got a deal with a boutique in my small town. So they would like send me clothes and I would do like try on hauls. Nice. And I did that for like a year and a half, which it's not money, but like it was super cool. And I love the brand anyway. So why not? And then obviously this podcast we started it with Kentucky Volleyball. So we were doing it just through Kentucky Volleyball. And then a company, Mercury, who we work with now, reached out. They were like, hey, we like what you guys do. And we think there's like a bigger audience for it. So we have been kind of running with that since. But Z, I don't know if you want to talk about your experience and how that looks like.
Yeah.
Z's an All-American, so her experience might look a little different.
It doesn't look different. It's like about the same, like not a whole lot. But I will say like across the nation, volleyball-wise, there are a lot of like really good players that are doing a lot of really big things and making a lot of money for it. And same way that women's basketball is helping all of us right now, like them getting those kind of deals is going to be really helpful to us. So not to say that it's not possible for people in our sport, because it definitely is, but not so much for us in this moment. But I think it's coming. So
yeah, I agree with that.
Going back to like the Big Ten volleyball, kind of kicking butt, they're definitely leading the way in terms of NIL stuff. So like if you know girls on the Badgers, like they're like Devin Robinson and obviously Dana Recchi like killed the game in terms of NIL, but there's like probably a handful, 10 to 15 girls in volleyball who probably do really well off of NIL, but there's like a big gap after that, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like Devin was gonna be like my example. Like I could totally see that girl bringing in big bucks, and like she absolutely deserves it.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, like she's a total beast. But yeah, like it's like such a good like representation or whatever, like to see that those girls are making money and like some people are supporting that. Like it's just like good for the future of like any women's sport.
Amen. Well, on that, Cami, I don't know. Do you have anything else?
Wait, I have a weird question.
Oh, okay.
This is just I don't know why this just threw me for a loop so badly. You said your pregame superstition was to 1, throw a tennis ball against the wall, and 2, you play soccer. Like,
yeah.
Where do you play like
this
in the
is
locker
like
room?
this is like a hockey thing. Like like every hockey team like plays soccer before their game, but it's not like we like play on like a field. Like we just like play like keep up basically.
Like in the locker room?
Like
I'm confused.
You can literally look it up, and like every single team in the NHL, like every professional team anywhere plays soccer before a hockey game. Like
that's so funny.
You just like play it in like the hallway, or like where we warm up. We warm up like in our weight room, and outside our weight room there's just like a big open concourse, and so we like play keep up with the soccer ball. Like there's probably a group of like 10 12 of us that do it.
So that's like universal. That's a hockey thing.
That's a universal thing. Is there anything like that for volleyball that like every team or every girl does to like warm up?
Wow.
I was gonna say slap each other's butts, but that's during the game. But that's like
that's like I need to ask about that, because like that's like the one thing that, you know, like when I'm watching volleyball with my friends, we're always like, why do they slap each other's butts after every single point?
We don't know.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Like it starts at such a young age, and it's so like second nature.
Well, I like Oh yeah, I don't know. Like we like huddle after every single point.
Yeah.
High fiving would be like a bit too much, but it's like really low
What
key
do
and
you
casual.
say in
Like
that
do it.
huddle?
Oh, not much. I mean, unless like sometimes if we're like someone's like on a 10 point run on us, it's like, all right, we need to change this. Deep breath, fixing something, change something. Or like if it was just a really good play, it's like, hey, that was a really good play.
Yeah.
It really varies. Like it could be like a lot of information, it could be no information. We're just screaming in each other's faces.
It's actually
I've always been curious because you guys
Yeah.
go into that huddle after every point, and we're always like, what do you think that they say? Like if they're getting absolutely crushed right now, like do you think they go into the huddle and they're like like mad at each other? Like what? Like that's so
Can't happen.
only Z. No, just kidding. I think like also that's like a topic of conversation / like something that has to get figured out at the beginning of the year, because there's always like one person that's kind of like the person you look to if crap's hitting the fan, and sometimes it's like unclear who that is, and that's like a problem for volleyball teams, right, Z? Big
For sure.
problem.
like having that leader.
Yeah, but it's not like discussed beforehand. It's not like, oh, this year Z is going to be the person that's like getting their, head out of their butt. It's like, who does everyone look to?
I think it's like equally as problematic, like to have no one and like everyone feel like they need to be saying something. Like,
Amen.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's on the bench and it's like everyone's giving information. It's like, this is too much. But like also like everyone staring at each other and looking clueless is also like, it's not enough. So I don't know. It's something that you don't talk about it, but it just kind of happens. But yeah.
Well, I guess we kind of have something like that, like in between periods in the locker room, like you have like the same people that are always the people saying something.
Right.
But sometimes like too many people start to speak and you're just like, it's enough information.
Yeah.
Like, we got it.
Less talking, more doing type.
More.
Yeah.
doing.
Like we can talk all day. Just go play.
Yeah. Amen to that. Well, Cami, this has been a freaking pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this was really fun.
For taking time out of your celebration.
Your celebration, because I know it's still going on.
Yeah. What day is it today? Friday? Oh, wait.
No, I really don't even know. I'm going to Boston this weekend to go like darty for the Boston Marathon on Monday.
What?
So
dope. Is that a thing?
Yeah, like it's totally a thing in Boston. Like all those schools on the day of the Boston Marathon, they just all like cut class or they don't have class, and everybody just like makes the marathon like a huge darty. Like no one is actually watching it. No one's running in it. Everyone's just in like backyards.
That is so cool. Wait, you'll be at Mifflin, I'm assuming too?
Obviously.
Yeah, you guys should probably get like not that there's a parade, but if there was, you guys should get like a float or
I feel left out of y'all's
we need
Wisconsin.
to get like a VIP tent at Mifflin, like, to get away from everyone else.
And everyone else provides. You guys just have to show up. Like you'll sign autographs.
Have you been to Mifflin?
No, because I'm always at school.
Well, are you in school this year?
I graduate in December, so maybe there. My brother's trying to get me to go in April. So
does your brother go to school here?
No, he goes to UW Whitewater, plays basketball.
Oh, so yeah, everyone comes in.
Everyone. They shut down Mifflin Street, and it's literally a block party, but like the whole state goes.
Sounds like something I don't need to be at, to say the least.
Sounds very Wisconsin.
I'm not going to name any names, but there's a certain person on or related to my team that was arrested at Mifflin last year. And like the cops are like the bike cops. It's either like a bike cop or
I'll run a bike cop.
The bike cop is putting you in handcuffs and like putting you in the back of the car. You're like, this isn't real.
This is not real. Oh my God. I'm sure the videos are hysterical of that.
Okay, wait, Cami, before you leave, we have one more question for you.
Oh yeah.
You need to give us your best piece of advice for everyone listening. Just one piece of advice, the best thing you have. Set, go.
I think nothing worth accomplishing is ever going to be easy to accomplish, and you need to stick to it if you want to get it done, and just dedicate yourself to your goals.
Man, sister.
Love that.
I love it. Mic drop. On that note, Cami, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, and we appreciate it. We got a new friend for sure.
Yeah, we're all friends now. I had a really good time talking to you guys. This was really fun to talk about these things with other awesome female athletes. So thank you for having me.
We appreciate you. Thank you.